and welcome to this week's episode of the NWM podcast. Now, this week is a very juicy interview with one of my very good friends, Lauren Stack, and it's actually interesting because this conversation really centres around changing network marketing companies and moving from one to another and her experience. And it's funny because this conversation actually happened before I moved companies. So when I refer to the company that I'm working in this particular episode, it is actually my previous company, but it's just so crazy how the world works. I feel like I have manifested the big change in my life in so many ways, but I hope you love this episode as much as I enjoyed chatting to my very good friend, Lauren Stack. So welcome, Lauren.
Hi.
To the Millennial Mum podcast. So for anyone listening who doesn't know who you are, do you want to just give like a little roundup intro of yourself?
Yeah, so obviously I'm Lauren. I'm 29 and I live just outside Milton Keynes. I run two businesses. So I've got an online business in the network marketing world, and then I also am a nail tech in a salon.
Don't look at my nails at any point during this because I'm due to get my nails done next week and I haven't actually had them done in 6 months. And I know if I ever go on my stories and you watch them, I know you just give me loads of hate basically.
I've given up with you now. You're a lost cause, okay?
I know. I haven't had them done in 6 months, so allow me. Best believe I'm going to be just sending you, when I get them done next week, I'm just going to send you so many pictures and like hold things. So you can
I actually need inspo. I need holiday inspo for mine. So yeah, oh mind you, probably not going to get bright holiday inspo from you, am I?
No, you know I like a natural vibe.
I'm quite natural.
I noticed that when we first came on. Sorry, I've just completely cut you up on your intro. Carry on.
Yes, anyway, nail tech. I've got a little girl, Fion. She'll be 2 in September, so she's a little bit under that. Once they're 1, you don't do the months anymore, do you?
1.5. It doesn't matter if they're 1 year and 3 months.
1.5 and 2, not quite 2 yet. Terrible 2s probably have arrived though. Probably a little bit after our first birthday. But yeah, I think that is me. Do you want anything else?
No, that's a pretty good start. So obviously this is a podcast for mums who run businesses, but let's just take it right the way back. So Lauren, as a little girl, what did she want to be when she grew up? I mean, we have like different ideas like as we grow up, but what's like the main thing that when you were a kid, like I want to be this?
I always thought I wanted to do stuff with animals.
Really?
Yeah, it gets weirder. That's not the strangest part. So I always wanted to do something with animals, but it's because I was never allowed animals when I was younger. So they were like the forbidden fruit. Like my mum and dad worked full time, so we couldn't have a pet. I couldn't have a dog, a rabbit, a hamster, nothing. So I just really loved animals and I felt like I was really missing out and losing out. So if I went on for a walk, I'd just decide that all the dogs were like my dog, and then I'd go home like loving all the dogs. So when I was really, really young, so as in like first memories of what I would want to do would be something to do with animals, which I think anyone who knows me now would be like, okay. I mean, I have a dog.
Anything to do with animals, like was there anything specific you want to be? Because when you say that, I think like vet, but I definitely can't imagine you as a vet.
I'd have been a vet. I'd have done like animal sanctuaries, anything to do with like anything to do with looking after and loving animals. 6-7-year-old Lauren would have been all over it. And then as I got older, so this is like when you are actually thinking about your career and what you want to do, this is where it gets crazier.
Why do I feel like I'm going to laugh already and I don't even know what you're literally going to say?
I wanted to be a physiotherapist.
What? I mean, this is no shame on any physios that are listening to this, but Lauren Stack, physio, that's just not where did that come from? Why was that a thing?
I wanted to be a sports therapist. I took biology and PE honestly, this was a thing, as my GCSEs, because I wanted to be a physiotherapist, but specialising in sports therapy.
And just tell everyone what sports you do now.
None. What sports did I do at the time? None.
Oh my God.
I mean, I dipped my toe in a little bit of athletics. So anyone, if they listen to this and knew me in secondary school, 200 meters, I'm your girl.
Okay, so that's
But other than that,
the only like dot that can be linked between Lauren Stack and physio is 200 meters in secondary school.
yeah, and that Jamie used to play ice hockey. That's as strong
Oh
as
my
my links go.
God.
But if
Okay,
he, I
so
would not provide
let's
any
just cross
physio
the
to him.
dreams then. So then the first job you ever had was what?
I worked at Nation. No, well, I had a weekend job with my dad. So he is the manager at Furniture Village. So I worked at the weekends there with him. So that's when I was in like sixth form, as in very first like pennies I earned.
Yeah.
I then didn't want to stay at sixth form, so my physiotherapist dream was over very quickly, because the biology, no,
It's one of the hardest subjects. Like science at A levels
so
are like
hard.
the hardest, aren't they?
So hard. So I loved GCSE science. So I did double science, I think it was at GCSE. So I did biology and chemistry as like my main subjects, and didn't, I don't think my chemistry mark mattered. I can't really remember how that worked. Obviously I wasn't going to get very far. So I loved it at GCSE, and then as soon as I started A level, no thank you. So
They do
basically
say though that the jump between GCSE and A level is harder than A level
yes,
to uni. Not that I have any experience in that, but that's
I
what they
did.
say generally.
Yes, I didn't go to uni, obviously. But I found it really hard going from GCSE to A level. But I don't know whether it's because I decided to go to sixth form instead of college. So my school was a school that had sixth form. So going to sixth form from being at school, so you're still in the school environment, but one day you start at 9 and then you get a free period and then you don't have to go until the afternoon, and your schedule's different to what your friends is. So when I was at school, obviously you'd have friends that are on break with you and friends that were on lunch with you. Whereas some days I did, some days I didn't. So I was a bit like always thinking, what am I going to do for lunch? Who am I going to be with? Am I going to have to walk home and come back? And then I didn't like the subject. So there was nothing anymore that was like holding me to going. So basically I was working with my dad on the weekends, getting literally, I don't even know what I got paid there, but I literally put the cookies in the oven. So anyone that's been into Furniture Village, you know.
What?
Yeah, the cookies. I made them.
I don't even know this is a thing.
Oh. So in Furniture Village, they have like, or maybe they don't. No, they must still do it. They have like a coffee machine, cookies, and it always smells like homely and like cookies in there, which is why they bake them in the store.
That is
They're
clever.
basically the same as Subway cookies. They come in like frozen blocks, and I literally used to put them in the oven, make them, take them out, and people would come and grab a coffee and a cookie. I
That's a
loved it.
madness.
So I did that on a Saturday and a Sunday with my dad. And then he said to me, look, so I started skiving sixth form by this point. But because of all the free periods, I thought I was getting away with it. So my dad at one point was like, look, I know you're not going to school. I was like, okay. He's like,
Caught
so
red-handed.
literally, he's like, so you go to school or you get a job. He's like, you're not doing none of either sort of thing. And I was like, I've got a job, I'll work with you. And he's like, no, you know what I mean. So I just did not want to go to school, sixth form. It wasn't for me anymore. So I applied for a college, to do complete different courses, and just thought, learn something, basically. That's what my dad said, do something. So I was like, okay, so I did that, but I'd missed enrolling basically. So the courses that I wanted, I then couldn't do until the following September. So this is only like November, December. So
So
I
you've got
went,
like pretty much a whole year of like
yeah,
doing
of
nothing.
doing nothing. And well, it was no option. My dad was not going to let me, which is where a lot of my work ethic comes from, to be fair. So I was like, fine. So I literally went into town. So I lived in Swindon at the time, went to Swindon Town Centre, went into the main like recruitment agency, and basically said, I need a job. Where can I work? So they got me an interview for Nationwide Building Societies. Anyone who listens from Swindon will know a lot of people work for Nationwide, and that was me. So I started working as a temp and stayed there, like ended up going permanent there and stayed there until I moved here. So I basically relocated with Nationwide when I moved to Milton Keynes.
Because I don't know you. I mean, I've only known you for like, I don't know you. I do know you.
That's so weird.
I've only known you for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And when I knew you, you were working in an estate agent. So,
Mhm.
so you relocated like to Milton Keynes way,
Mhm.
and you were still
Mhm.
working with Nationwide, or you
Mhm.
then swapped?
Yeah, no, so I'm still working with Nationwide for I think just under a year. So I moved to Milton Keynes. So I worked in head office for Nationwide in Swindon. So they've got a head office in Northampton, but it was like an hour commute there and back. So I was thinking for what I'd get paid for doing like a basic office job sort of thing, it didn't weigh up to travel that far to get paid what I was getting paid. So I had to basically apply for a new job, but obviously was not guaranteed the job, but there's a good chance I was going to get it because I'd worked for Nationwide at this point for 4-ish years.
And what was that to be, an estate agent?
No, so this is still Nationwide. This is still the
Oh,
building society. So I worked in the branch in Bletchley.
oh, okay.
But I didn't like that. And then literally said to Jamie, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I loved my job at Nationwide, but I didn't like working in an actual branch, like touching actual money. One, I was poorly all the time.
Really?
The germs on money, awful. Like everyone was always poorly. Like someone had a cold or something all the time. So that was enough for me. So I literally went home one day and just looked for jobs online, and a job with Countrywide came up, which was an estate agent. Went for my interview, and yeah, then worked there.
And how long were you there for?
I was there for 2015 to 2019. So 4 years I was there. And then when I would have first started talking to you, I worked for Linden Homes. So I went over from estate agency to new homes. So literally worked in like a new build developer, which was Linden Homes. And I was there for a year.
That's cool, right? So I remember when I was about 11 and me and my mum lived in an apartment, and her partner at the time, we then started looking at houses and we went on to a new build estate, and like some of the houses weren't even built yet, but you went into like a couple of the show homes,
Yeah.
and it literally felt like you were walking into a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And like the houses are all beautifully set up, and then you get like a brochure, and I'm sure like when I came home for about 2 weeks afterwards, I would like pretend that I'm like
Yeah.
the person working there and like going through all the things. Like it's such a cool like experience. And I think from that moment, I thought that when you're an adult and you buy a house, that's how
Yeah.
you buy a house, and like you pick
Yeah.
all the kitchen and you pick the floor and all of that kind of stuff.
Basically,
So
like,
is that the
design
kind of
it
stuff that you
from
did at
scratch.
Linden Homes?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wicked. That's like living out a part of my childhood. Like if I wouldn't want to do that now, but
Mm.
like as a child, that would have been something that I would have absolutely
Yeah,
loved to
that was
do.
my favourite. So out of the jobs that I've done, like full-time work, that was my absolute favourite. And obviously, if it wasn't for the success of my online business, I'd never have left doing that. I don't think I'd probably still be doing it now.
So on that then, so we actually started in the same company at different times. How did the opportunity of network marketing, selling products through social media and helping other people do the same, how did that opportunity even like come in front of you?
So I had actually done it before. So I joined a company when I'd first moved in with Jamie.
So I didn't
Um,
know this either. I feel like I don't even know you now. Like I actually do know you, but I feel like I don't.
who are you? So yeah,
Who
I'd
are
actually done it
you?
before. So I joined a company when I first moved in with Jamie, because when I moved over to the branch with Nationwide, I was actually on slightly less money. But
Right,
obviously,
okay.
I was living with Jamie and it was all going to be fine. But then I was getting paid each month and I had less money. So I was like, what do I do now? So I'd looked online, just literally, I didn't do any research or anything. I just messaged a girl that I saw was doing it and was like, I want to do this too. So obviously I didn't do very well because I didn't look into it. I didn't really care for it. I just basically saw that she made a bit of money doing it and I was like, I need a bit of money, so let's make that happen. So it didn't go very well. It didn't do very much. And then that did tarnish my view on network marketing because I thought, oh, it's a load of rubbish. Like only a certain amount of people do well. They have to join at a certain time or live in the right place. And that obviously wasn't me. Nothing to do with the fact I did nothing, therefore got nothing. That wasn't
You
what
are
it
the
was.
perfect example of the
Yeah,
people that we don't like in this industry because
yeah,
they see success, no matter
yeah,
how quick or slow it might be.
yeah,
Like someone might have got a car payment or go on holiday, and even though that might have taken them 3 years to get, someone will
yeah.
see it and be like, oh, okay, well, that's really easy in reach. And like, it's actually not. And I just want to say, like, as well, when you see people go on like these free holidays, I'll never ever forget one of my mentors a couple of years ago said, like, it's not a free holiday. Like, don't talk
No,
about it like it's a free holiday. Like, you've worked
100%.
your absolute
It's an
arse off to
earned
get
holiday.
that.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Like, if it was free, then everyone would be going on it in the company, and that's not the case. So I'm
No.
so glad. I didn't realize that you were one of those people.
I was one of them. I thought network marketing's crap. Like, what are all these people on about? You don't make anything.
So you had that view. So then
Yeah.
how did it come all the way round to then joining the one that we
So,
were in
yeah.
together?
So I don't, to be fair, when I joined, I didn't have any expectations this time. Like, I wasn't joining like, oh, I want to make money. Basically, I'd seen the product, and the person who I joined, so the person who I saw promoting the product, I thought, oh, she wouldn't promote like rubbish. These must be really good. So I ordered some products from her, tried them, obviously was obsessed. And then I wasn't actually gonna join because obviously network marketing is rubbish.
Yeah.
I spoke to all my family and friends, as you do when you buy anything. Anything you buy, you're like, right, mum, you need this, nan, you need this, you need this, you need this, tell this person about this. So that's what I was doing. So I sent all of the products into group chats that I was in. I was like, look, I've ordered some of these. They're really, really good. Let me know if you want to try it, because I'm probably going to get some more. So I had an order for like 28 products or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So basically said to the girl, look, this is what I've got. Do you want me to just tell you exactly what we want and you tell me what I owe? Do you want to do it separate people? Like, this person's ordered this, and I didn't know how she'd want to do it. So she like obviously then gave me this spiel of, oh, like you could make money. I'm like, don't know. And then she put a post up saying she was looking for team members, and obviously she'd already planted the seed. So I was like, absolutely not. And then I saw the post and was like, actually I could. So then I messaged her and said, oh, do you know what, I'd actually be interested in this, give me all the info. So then I literally jumped in. I had no expectations this time though. It was literally a case of, I like the products, I know other people will like the products. If I make money, great. If I don't, the products are still great, so who cares?
And you haven't lost anything because it's a company where you don't like pay to get started or anything like that.
Yeah, and I bought the products for me to try anyway. So whether that led to something or not, it didn't really matter. And I think that was the difference this time. It did not matter. So I wasn't doing it as a lifeline. Obviously, everyone wants more money, and especially the times we're talking about now, like cost of living.
Yeah, of course.
We all want more money, but it wasn't a lifeline like I was treating it the first time. Like, it was just a case of, if I make money, amazing. If I don't, it's not a problem. But obviously, I did join, and it literally changed my life. As cringe, cliche, whatever as that is, I wouldn't be talking to you now if I hadn't done that. So,
well, no, our paths wouldn't have crossed if it wasn't for the industry. And I don't even think we would have had to have
the chair I'm sitting on, Yaz.
Exactly. So side note,
you can actually see the chair.
You can see the chair that Lauren had off me, because when I was pregnant with my first child, I was told I was having a girl for 8 months of the pregnancy, and we bought everything, and then Lauren found out she was having a baby, and it turned out she was having a girl and actually having a girl. So had the chair that we had in the nursery. And did we give you a blanket and a couple of other bits? Yeah. But yeah, it's just mad. Like, even if we weren't in the same company, I think our paths would have crossed, because I think we're quite a similar
due to the industry, they definitely would have.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And it's one of those things, again, where you hear people say, like, the industry is amazing and, like, it's about the friends you make. Like, yes, it sounds cringe, but it is so true.
So true.
Like, it couldn't be more true, because, like, I wouldn't just, like, randomly comment on other people's things or message people if I liked something or anything like that if it wasn't for the industry. Like, the things I've been taught, and how to network has definitely got me, like, the people around me that I have currently around me. So with that then, so you started in that company alongside your job in Linden Homes, and how long were you doing them together? And obviously this was before you had Fion.
Oh god, yeah. So I started with the company September 19, and then I left Linden Homes, well, the same day I got pregnant, we think now, actually.
Really?
So January 2021. So just
so you were doing it for well over a year.
Yeah.
Wow. And like
Yeah, so
you're one of those people that you've built a decent sized business
yeah, it
before
was
you left
when
your job.
God, yeah. So it was when I got my first 5-figure month that I
So
was
you earned
like,
over 10K in 1 month and you were like,
yeah,
yeah, this is legit.
yeah. So that was the November, and I was like, what on earth am I doing? Like, at what point am I going to class this business as good enough or sustainable enough? Because a lot of people who were around me at that time will know that I said, once I get to this level, I'm going to quit my job. And then I'd get to that level and I'd be like, okay, so once I get to this level, I'm going to quit my job. And then I'd do
Oh
it.
my God.
And yeah, so it wasn't until I did the 10 grand that I was like, Lauren,
See, in that we're similar in
this is
some ways,
ridiculous.
yeah, but we are opposite with that because I only
You
worked
went
my
straight
nine to
in.
five. Yeah, I only worked my 9 to 5 with my side hustle for literally 4 months. I
Yeah,
did the May, June, July, and then I handed my notice in like the last week of August. And my
yeah,
boss basically called me. I had to give, it was either 2 weeks or a month notice. And I gave my notice in on the Friday, and he literally called me on the Monday morning and was like, "You may as well just go now." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like there was a bit of hard feelings on his side, and
yeah, of course.
he got a bit like sour, and he didn't embarrass himself, but the things he was saying on the phone, he was trying to like match the car plan. He was
Yeah,
like trying to like in desperation say loads of things to get me to stay, but I'd
yeah.
already made my mind up. And like I hadn't earned like 10 grand at that
Mm,
point. Like I'd out
mm.
earned my 9 to 5 for
Yeah,
from the second month onwards. So to me
yeah,
that was like sustainable, especially like in the summer months. But like
exactly.
on reflection, I wish I'd have maybe stayed in it for at least 6 months, because what's the harm of
Yeah,
having
yeah,
two full-size incomes? So it's wicked that you were like really clever with that, because you
yeah.
do
But then
see
at the
people as
same
well like,
time, with me, like I could have done it sooner. So you did it probably way sooner than I would have done it. But then I was there each month, like maybe next month, maybe next month, maybe next month.
yeah,
And I thought it was never going to happen. And then I literally woke up one morning in the December and was like, I'm going to give my notice today. And that was it. I went to work, I gave my notice. Everyone was like, oh my God. Like my mum and dad were like, oh my word. Jamie was like, we own a house. I just literally woke up one morning and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, doing both. Like, if this is what I can do with a business in the limited time I have, what could I do if I worked on it all day, every day?
like a
Like,
normal 9 to 5 hours, like what
yeah,
could you
like
achieve?
I could
Yeah,
work less hours. Like, I was doing ridiculous hours on my 9 to 5 because it's never a 9 to 5, is it? Like, mine defo
yeah,
wasn't. And then I was working before I got to work on my lunch break. When I got home, it was constant all the time, but I didn't mind because obviously I was seeing the results. But I
yeah,
thought, imagine if I only had to do one of these things, and it was never ever going to be the online business that I was going to give up ever.
yeah. So now, so that was obviously like nearly 2.5 years ago that you left
Yeah,
your job. We're
yeah.
now sitting here in like the spring, depending on where you are in the country, you might
I
disagree.
mean, I've got a
And
jumper on. It's actually quite warm here today, to be fair.
oh, do you know what? Considering I'm in South Wales, which is known for being like the rainiest part of the
Yeah.
UK, it's blue skies and sunshine, and I'm sat in
You
a
had
vest
really
top.
nice
So
weather the other day as well when we didn't. I thought this is taking the mick a little bit.
yeah, weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're sat here now having this conversation, and you are now no longer in the company that you were in when you left your job.
Yeah.
So, how did that come about? Because I think there's a bit of I don't know what the word is, or I can't think of the word, like, um, what's the word?
Stigma.
That's the one. There's a bit of a stigma around changing network marketing companies. So I'd love to know what your experience is. And first of
Yeah.
all, like, how did that opportunity get put in front of you? Because you're making all this money, you've left your job, like you're doing really well. You obviously had Fion at this point.
Yeah.
So new mum, first time mum, which is just wild in itself. So
Yeah.
how did that come around?
It was a really, really gradual thing. So I've always been, I think I'm probably one of the last people anyone would expect to ever move or jump ship or whatever the terminology is that I did, grass isn't greener and all of those sorts of things. I'm probably the last person that anyone would think would do that, because whatever I am doing, I am doing. So I am fully in it. I am it. I represent it fully. I'm the same with the salon. So what I do with my online business, I'm the same sort of outside of whatever I do. It becomes me, like it fully
Yeah.
consumes me. But once I had Fion, obviously your priorities change, my interests changed a lot, and I'm older, which I don't like to talk about, but I am older now than when I first started my network marketing business. And so my priorities are very different. So the things that I was spending my money on, the things that I was spending my time researching and looking into were different. And I started to find that things that I align with, or things that I like or I represent, weren't so much aligning very much with the company I was with originally. And it's not a case of I hate my old company, I hate what I was doing, I hate the products. It was just a case of they weren't 100% me like they were before. They were probably more sort of 80% me. And I was buying products from other companies, which I've always done anyway, because I'll always support other people's small businesses before I'd go to like a high street. Because I think that's how what we become like, isn't it? When you do an online
Yeah.
business, like you'd
Yeah,
much rather
definitely.
support. So I was doing that anyway, but I found obviously one company and one set of products in particular that I started using, and then I wanted to buy more. And then as I was buying more, I wanted to know more. And the more I was learning, oh, this sounds even more cringe, don't even want to say it, but I couldn't unsee it. What I had seen, yeah, I couldn't unsee. Um, yeah, I went
That's
there.
like trigger words for all of the people
I
who hate network
know.
marketing. That is a
I've
trigger
done two.
word.
I've done align. I don't align with it anymore, and I couldn't unsee it. But it's the honest truth. Like I found myself so intrigued by what the products were, how they were making them, how they knew how to make them. So as in like the backing behind everything. And at first it was just a bit like, oh, that's so interesting. That's amazing that they do that. And it was more of like an admiration, and then it became more like, I love that. And it
Yeah.
became more a case of I'm more interested in that. So I'd be watching certain people from the company I'm now with on social media, and it started off just watching them and being like, oh, like I'd had them on my social media the whole time. Whereas now it was they were talking about new things that are coming, and I'm like, well, I want to know what they are. It's none of my business what they are, but I wanted it to be my business. So yeah, that is literally what I did. I made it my business. And
And
off I went.
how did you feel? What kind of journey did you go on when you knew you were going to switch
Mhm.
companies? How did that feel?
I felt at first scared, obviously. But it wasn't necessarily scared that I was taking a risk going to a company. So I wasn't scared about my income. I wasn't scared about the practical sides of things, which probably is more so what you would be. And that's how I knew it was the right time to go, because I was more scared about people's perception of me going. And that wasn't just people with the company, that was customers, that was friends, that was family. It was more so I was more concerned about what people thought about me doing it than actually doing it. And I thought, if that's my biggest concern, let's
What
go.
the hell? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's such a mad thing, like because we always say it as well, like other people's opinions don't pay your bills, and
never.
actually you have to go with what your gut is saying. You have to do the right move for your
100%.
family and like your immediate, like obviously you, Jamie and Fion, like what's
Mhm.
going to bring you joy and make you
Yeah,
happy, and like be in a company that aligns with all the things that you've just said. But it's
yeah,
crazy how the opinions of others can be the one thing that is like the
yeah.
overbearing weight on your shoulders.
And it stopped me. It stopped me for, so before I actually moved, I wanted to move for 2 months because it was Black Friday when I was really like,
Shit, I need to do
I
this.
want to be involved in what they're doing, not what I'm doing. And I actually probably had my poorest Black Friday, as in terms of sales, income, that I'd had with my previous company, because I wasn't in it. I was there,
Yeah.
but I wasn't in it. I wasn't invested. I wasn't excited. I was literally thinking, I'm stuck. And it's like the whole thing of the grass isn't greener, and then saying the grass is greener where you water it. And I
Yeah.
100% agree, because had I watered my grass on Black Friday, I would have seen better results, but I didn't have it in me anymore to do
I feel
that.
like as well, when you lose that spark or you lose that fire, it is so difficult to get it
You
back.
can't
And
get
then
it
you
back.
just feel, yeah, you just feel like you're stuck, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And as well, like in network marketing, if you've got a team, if they're not doing, if they're not building their own business, or they don't have that mindset of doing it themselves, if you've
Yeah.
lost that fire and you're trying to motivate them, you literally feel like you are dragging bodies. And that
Yeah.
is the worst
Literally
place to
dragging
be.
dead weight. Like, we should, like, I've always said that as well. Like, I will guide anybody, I will help anybody, I will not drag.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want it for yourself, I don't want it for you. And
It's
I'm
hard
gonna
though,
work
because
with
you can
someone
be
who
in a
does
situation where sometimes you want it for those people more than they want
more
it for
than they do.
themselves. Yeah, and
1,000%.
that's like the mindset that you can sometimes be in when you're dragging people, because you're thinking, I
Yeah.
know you can do it. I know this is made for you. That I know the opportunity that's in front of you.
Yeah.
And actually, like, that just completely drains you and your
Yeah.
energy, because they're never going to do it anyway.
No.
Like, it's just it's
What
it's a
actually
very
is
wild
that
place to
saying? You
be.
can drag a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like, that is it.
I remember, it's, yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I
Yeah.
remember doing a team training. I used to do my Monday motivations training with my team every 7 o'clock, every Monday at 7 o'clock in the
God,
evening. And I
yeah.
actually did a training on that. And I
Yeah.
think I gave them a bit of a harsh reality, because I was like, look, it's here. I'm here. I can't do
Yeah.
the work for you. You
No.
can soak in all of this, but how many of you are actually then going to come off this call and actually do the shit?
1,000%.
Like, it's mad. So on reflection then, like moving company, is there anything that you would do differently? Like, whether it's move sooner or not move at all? I mean, obviously that's not a thing. Or like, is there anything that you would do differently with that whole arrangement and that period of like transition?
I think the way I did it, no. As much as on hindsight I could say I wish I started sooner, I feel like I needed to want it more, because I clearly didn't. I wanted to move in the November, but I clearly didn't want it enough because I didn't do it. And I feel like anyone who does know me or will get to know me even through this podcast, like, I am someone that if I want something, consider it done. It's not a case of she might do it, she might not. No,
I
if
can
it's
vouch
got,
for that. I can,
yeah,
even though it comes across like I don't even know you on this podcast with all the random shit you've been saying about you being a kid, that is one thing that I will vouch for you on.
yeah. Like, if I say I want to do something, or even if I say, oh, I may do this, just consider it done. Like, she's done it. So I didn't want it enough in the November, so I'm glad I waited and then did it. I just wish internally, so not anything I did externally, but I wish I was prouder of myself and had more faith in myself when I did just do it. Because I obviously gave myself all of that big sort of like prep talk and was like, Lauren, you've got this, you're going to launch this new business, it's going to be incredible, you've got all of the faith in it, you've got all the faith in yourself. But I sort of really soft launched on social media just so it wasn't a big, I never ever wanted to do a big, it's the end of this, I'm leaving, I'm not doing this anymore, watch out for what I'm doing next, because it didn't feel right to me. Like, that wasn't how I wanted to do it. I just really wanted to sort of like slip out of the back door and be like, hi, have you seen this that I sell? And then I just bought it in a lot more. So I don't know whether I'd ever change how I did that. So obviously I caused a lot of questions basically, but that also caused a lot of people in the DMs, which also led to a lot of new customers. So would I change it?
And
Nah.
on that, it's obvious that you didn't go big because you were worried of that whole thing of other people's opinions.
Yeah.
So did you have any stick like directed to you?
No, not directed to me. I haven't actually heard that there was any either, which is music to my ears. But I will say my story views went through the friggin' roof.
Did they?
So it went somewhere. It was shared somewhere.
It was
I never
common
had.
knowledge somehow.
It was common knowledge somehow, very, very quick. But nothing was ever said to me. In fact, the only messages I have actually ever had from any other leaders or anyone that I I say was associated with as if like I have nothing to do with them anymore. You know what I mean?
I know what you
My
mean.
ex-associates. All I've ever had is how people have said, like, I really respect how you did that. Like, you never badmouthed your old company. And I never would. I still use the products. Like, my family still use the products. Like, I never would. Me moving was me. It wasn't, I got dealt a bad hand or something awful happened. It was just time. Like, it's time to move on sometimes, and you just have to go with it. So no,
Yeah, and I
I
think
didn't
what
get any
some
slip
people
that I know of.
do, when some people, what they do is when they go to a different company, they completely burn bridges, and that
Yeah,
fucks them up and shoots them in the foot. And you never want to be in that position, I
no.
suppose.
But you lose credibility with everyone. So if I was to move over to a new company and say, oh, I hated this, F that, that product's not even any good. Like, I mean, there's products that are no good that I've said when I was partnered with the company, I personally don't like that. And there's
Yeah,
products with my new company that I'm like, personally, that's not for me.
yeah,
But yeah, the people that move and are suddenly, I hate everything about that, you lose credibility with customers straight away because you were selling them a product that was the best thing since sliced bread. And then today, that product's a load of tosh and you don't know why they ever bought it. What?
yeah.
Like, it's fine to say that you found something else and it's backed on research or whatever, but you lose credibility the second you do that because your customers are thinking, oh, so you're going to sell me this one. And then next week, if you were to decide to do something else, what are you going to sell me then and say the last one was a load of rubbish too? So yeah, I think it's really important to be honest, but do not ever burn your bridges. Like, I'd like to
Because
think I
also
haven't done it already.
you never know, because the company that like we were in that I'm in,
Mhm.
a lot of people try other companies and then come
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Obviously you haven't, and that's
no.
great, and you've found a new
Yeah,
passion and
but,
interest, and
but
that's
you don't know that you
fantastic.
never would. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. So you can't burn those bridges. It's stupid, really,
No.
isn't it?
And also, as
Um,
a network marketer, like your first customers, like not even thinking like people that are going to work on your team, your first customers are generally going to be people who know you and are in that sort of business and support that business. So your first customers in your new company could be people you only met through your old company. Whereas if you've
yeah,
gone and pissed them all off, you've lost that too. Like,
yeah,
and then you are being discussed in a bad light. So that's when obviously story views can go up in this case too. I'm hoping mine was just people being nosy, because it never affected me badly. But if you're being talked about in that way, like that's a reputation and that's going to spread. And in network marketing, like we said, you come across other people in other companies, like just organically, like it just happens. So you could actually have a bad reputation for what you did to your old company through people you've never even met yet. So if I then went to
exactly.
move on again, like those people be like, oh God, no, we've already heard about her, avoid her like the plague.
And you
Like,
don't want to be in that position. Like no one wants to be in that
never,
position.
never.
So, but I mean, you ain't moving anytime soon. You look like you're
No.
absolutely smashing it, and I have a lot of admiration for you for stepping out,
Thank
like,
you.
and going with the decision that you felt was right for you and your family and your interests and all of that. So fair play to you, to be honest.
Thank
But
you.
side note, so obviously
Yeah.
Miss Nail Tech, obviously you were
Yeah.
my nail tech before I relocated, and I know you literally like hate me for it, all the time.
You win
But
some, you
how do
lose
you
some.
jug what?
You win some, you lose some.
Just as we were
You
becoming
tell me, yes.
friends.
Is the grass greener?
It's greener where you water it, babes. So, nail tech,
Yes.
network marketer, and
Yes.
mum of a crazy 1.5 to 2 year old where early terrible twos have hit. So,
Yeah.
how do you juggle all of this shit?
You tell me, babe. I'll tell you what, I actually said about this on my stories a little bit earlier on. Obviously, this isn't the same day, but if anyone's with me already. But some days I completely, same with you to be fair, Yaz, like I completely have my shit together. Like I get up early, I plan my day. Fion wakes up as she should, and the day goes to plan. Some days it doesn't. It goes horribly
Some days
wrong.
is
Um,
hell.
yeah, some days are hell. Like this morning had a few hellish vibes there. Um, But I think I do really try and stay organised, and I try and do things that are non-negotiable every single day. So the days that I am in the salon are Thursday to Saturday. So on those days, I'm pretty much a write-off for anything else. Because I normally do 3 long days in the salon, because I am really fortunate where I have been fully booked since I launched
you've
in the salon.
absolutely just killed it with that. Like from the moment you announced it, you've just been so busy.
Yeah, so it took me 4 days from when I launched to say I was going to be in the salon that I'm in to fully book the days in that salon for the first month.
Madness.
Yeah, it was something else. And again, I put that down to the work that I do on social media and the work that I do on myself. So before I launched, I made sure I had decent photos, decent products that I was using, decent content, which is what I always do. So now I always make sure I've got stuff in the archives as such. So I've always got something ready to post when my day is hellish, like today. Or
It's
even
so
today.
mad, right? Because what you've just said there is that you've learned transferable skills from working in network
100%.
marketing, and you've now used them in your nail tech business. And
Yeah.
another mum who I've interviewed on this podcast said
Said the same
exactly
thing.
the same thing, where the transferable skills were from network marketing into property. So it is just crazy. To anyone who is a seasoned listener to the Millennial Mum podcast, like, it's just crazy that network marketing teaches you so much in so many different aspects that can then transfer into completely different industries that you would never even align the two with. Like, it's just crazy.
And it's so much more than a little business, a little side hustle.
No matter how little it actually is, though, like, even if you are literally just using it as a side hustle, those skills you learn and can take them to whatever scale you want them to be.
Like, I would not be a nail tech if it wasn't for my network marketing business. I wouldn't be as good a nail tech as I am if it wasn't for my network marketing business. And my books wouldn't be what they are. Like, it's as simple as that, because network marketing for me changed my mindset, my confidence, my focuses. So yeah, anything I do owe to the fact that I did network marketing, because it's changed everything. It's changed how I view every single situation as well.
So then you're obviously bringing up a beautiful little girl into the world.
Yes.
When she hits the age of, I don't know, 16, when she's going to start thinking about work and what she wants to do, what's like the biggest piece of advice you would give her if she came to you and said, Mum, look, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to be. I don't know what job I want to have. What would be your advice?
I think it would have to be similar to what my dad did to me. Like, as much as I'd love to say, like, oh, just whatever makes you happy, babe. Like, with my dad, he just said, just do something and do it well. He didn't care what I did. He didn't care if I went to college. He didn't care if I went to sixth form. He didn't care if I did an apprenticeship. Like, he did not care. He just said, whatever you do it well, as in basically give it your all. So I think I'd always say that, because I think I do literally apply that to everything, and I'd say I'm doing okay. So I think for her, hopefully she'll embody that, because she'll grow up obviously surrounded by me, hopefully, because I'm always here. But I think whatever she does, just do it well and have that be your only focus. Don't do 100 things and half-heart them all. Do one thing, but smash the shit out of it. And then if you want to add another one, you can, but smash the shit out of the first one first. Yeah. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, you're like the perfect example of someone who can say, like, this is what I started doing. I started bringing out the cookies in Furniture Village, and now Mama is a nail tech and smashing a network marketing business. And I mean, come on, by the time she's 18, 16, that's like 15 years down the line. Like, you might have other businesses, or you might find the network marketing isn't for you anymore and it served its purpose and you're doing something else. Like, you just never know. But I think it's great that, like, you'll give that advice and have your own experience to say, like, this is what I did, and she should have the confidence to be able to then kind of run with that. So it's just mad, don't you think, that, like, our kids are literally going to be at an age where they're working and come to us for advice?
I find it crazy that she's going to be at an age where she's going to, like, ask me a question that makes sense. Like when you said then, like when she says to you, like, what do I do with myself? Like at the minute it's
Yeah.
so the fact that she's gonna like ask me a question, I think, oh my God, like she's gonna get older.
Yeah, like I can't even
I
imagine her
think
stringing a sentence together.
no,
That
like
is
you
funny.
forget, don't you? Like you have a baby, they're not babies for very long. Like even now, like I look at her and she like says words and obviously she says phrases, but she doesn't like piece together like questions as such. But I just think that's crazy. We can have a full-on conversation.
And
And it's
trust
just mad.
me, you realize how much they grow when you have a second, because obviously
Yeah.
Finn is only like 6 months older than Fionn, but as soon as we had
Yeah.
Hunter, like he's only just turned 2, really, and he just seems so much older and like they just grow up
Yeah.
so much faster. But that's a complete different bloody
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah.
episode.
No mum of two
So,
talk here. Thank you.
so just
Woo.
before we go, if people want to find you on your socials, how can they find you?
Yes.
What are you on and what's your like handles?
So Instagram at laurenstack.xx. There's me.
And if you're a nail tech in that area of like Leighton Buzzard, Milton Keynes, Bletchley,
Yeah.
I mean, this girl is fully booked all the time, so you might have to go on some kind of waiting list. But I can say from first-hand experience, she is wicked. So get yourself booked in. Thank you so
you.
much, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.